Now, not all House Republicans share Congressman Ryan's position. Earlier today, Minnesota Congresswoman Michele Bachmann introduced legislation that would make the individual income tax rates permanent while repealing the death tax and the gift tax. And she joins us now to explain. Congresswoman, welcome back. Good to see you.
Always great to see you, Sean. Thanks.
All right, first of all, so you're against this legislation. You are going to vote against it.
I will be voting against it because, again, the legislation is not paid for. The real problem here is spending that's not paid for, that's adding to the deficit. It's in excess of $800 billion, and it also blows a hole in the Social Security Trust Fund of about $110 billion, in addition to the $57 billion that we'll be paying out in unemployment benefits.
Right. Yeah, Congressman Mike Pence is against it. Steve King is against it. A lot of conservatives have come out against it. I might have a little dispute with you over the $800 billion, but doesn't that $800 billion include the projected income revenues by raising taxes?
Yes, it includes continuing the tax rates as they currently are, which says, again, we need to cut spending. And we all recognize that's the first priority. I'm for extending the current tax rates. That's a good thing. In fact, I would like to drop them even below what they currently are. But what we can't do is add to that mix of increased spending by blowing a hole in the Social Security Trust Fund and by adding to the unemployment benefits an additional $57 billion. What it would do, Sean, is have us say to the voters that voted very clearly and very forthrightly in November that at this point we still aren't listening to them.
Did we ever get an answer what came out of the Senate bill? For example, were the ethanol subsidies thrown in that bill, the final one that got voted on? Were the rum subsidies in there? Has anyone had a chance to read this thing?
That's part of the problem, Sean, and that's what people were furious about in November. They want us to change the way we do business here in Washington. They want us to have committee hearings out in the open, which this bill neglected to do. This is all fashion behind closed doors. And then we get this. We aren't able to read the bill. And yes, I understand it still has the ethanol subsidy.
All right, so your bill that you proposed today, that you would make the tax cuts permanent, you would eliminate the death tax and the gift tax. Do you have enough support to get this bill? I mean, I know Congressman Pence in the House and Senator DeMint, they have a bill that would make the tax cuts permanent, but there's no chance Nancy Pelosi is going to allow that vote to take place on the floor, is she?
It's very unlikely. My bill would also keep the AMT patch for alternative minimum tax, and it would lower the corporate tax rate from the current 34% down to 25%. That would be a huge inducement for creating jobs here in the country. We need to have a pro-jobs piece of legislation, not what President Obama has put.
All right, is any Republican gonna support this pork-laden, lard-filled omnibus bill that the Senate is pushing today? Do you know if any Republican will support that?
I haven't heard of one Republican in the House that has any plan to support this bill. I would highly urge any of them not to. This is a terrible vote. It's $1.1 trillion, as you said earlier, with 6,600 earmarks. And don't forget, candidate Obama said he would veto any bill that has earmarks. Now's his time to put up or shut up and veto this bill.
I'm not looking forward to it. But back to the tax deal for just a second. So if in fact you do not pass a bill, then that means that what? You come back January 5th, new Congress, now you have the majority, you have more senators on board. That means what? That you could have a cleaner bill without the spending in it, and you are confident you can get that passed then? Do you think Barack Obama would then cave before the end of the year?
I do, because again, what we could do is have the tax cuts retroactive back to January 1st. No one wants to do this, and no one should forget that this clearly lies at the feet of Speaker Pelosi. For 4 years, she's known that this date is going to come, and she neglected to pass a budget, neglected to pass spending bills, neglected to pass a tax bill. Here we are 2 weeks away from January 1st, and her work isn't done. This is a failure on her part, and now she wants to hurry, hurry, hurry. I don't think that Republicans should feel compelled that we have to bail her out, so to speak.
No.
I really do believe we can have a better deal when the Republicans take the majority, because conservatives will put a clean bill forward.
But they got that Don't Ask, Don't Tell today in the House. They're pushing the DREAM Act and a whole variety of other issues in the final days. It's pretty remarkable how tone deaf they are. But Congresswoman, appreciate what you're doing. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for an update.
Thank you, Sean.